Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Jennifer Surtees, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Private Shin Kim. We warmly welcome the family of Captain William Ross Hoggart, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Captain William Ross Hoggart. William Hoggart was born on the 22nd of August, 1876, the second eldest of 5 children born to Elizabeth and Alexander Hoggart of Bongor, northwest of Ballarat in Victoria. Known to family and friends as Bill, Hoggart attended the Flinders School in Geelong, where he was captain of the school cadets. After school, he was granted a scholarship to study at the University of Melbourne. He completed a bachelor's degree and attended Teachers College, and then began a successful career as a teacher at various schools across Victoria, including the Berrenbroke State School, Melbourne High School, Flinders School, Wanamble Agricultural High School, and finally Melbourne Grammar School, which he joined in 1908. In 1907, he married Rebecca Adey. The couple went on to have 2 daughters, Marjorie and Jean. Before his service, Hoggart gained military experience as a non-commissioned officer in a Geelong Artillery militia unit and as drill master of the Melbourne Grammar Cadets and Rifle Club. Hoggart enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 9th of October 1914 and soon took a commission as a captain in the newly formed 14th Infantry Battalion. Hoggart and the 14th Battalion trained at the Broadmeadows camp near Melbourne, and in December sailed for Egypt, where they set up camp near Cairo. In a letter written to one of his former schoolmasters, Hoggart described the hot desert days and freezing nights in Egypt as like living between a grill and a refrigerator. In early April, he sailed with his unit from Egypt to the Greek island of Lemnos in preparation for the landings on Gallipoli. Upon hearing of the planned attack, he wrote that if the expedition is successful, the result should be historic, and I, for one, will feel proud of having played a very small part. Days later, Hoggart and the 14th Battalion landed near the rocky cliffs of what is now known as the Anzac Cove. Hoggart and the 14th Battalion did not take part in the initial dawn landings on the 25th of April, but were fully ashore by the following day. On the morning of the 27th of April, Hoggart and his company were ordered to form part of an advance along a steep valley and occupy a position in the high ground that would become known as Quinn's Post. As they advanced up the valley, they came under near constant Turkish shrapnel artillery fire. Once at Quinn's Post, Hoggart's unit came under a sudden burst of heavy machine gun fire that cut down several men. The survivors dropped to the ground and set about digging some defences, but were pinned down and unable to locate where the machine gun fire was coming from. Stuck in a hopeless situation, and despite the clear danger, Hoggart stood up to try and locate the Turkish gun in an attempt to save his men, but was shot and instantly killed. He was buried near where he fell, one report stating that as he was laid to rest, he still had his usual smile on his lips. He was 38 years old, survived by his wife and 2 young daughters. His wife later wrote, his last act was characteristic of him, an act of bravery, devotion, and thoughtfulness for others. In the chaos of the fighting that raged on Gallipoli in the coming months, the exact place of his burial at Quinn's Post was lost. Instead, his gravestone at Quinn's Post Cemetery reads that he is believed to be buried in the cemetery. It also carries the inscription, "The glory shall not be blacked out." Captain William Ross Hoggart's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Captain William Ross Hoggart, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening.